दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति सपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सा अद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्ता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरसे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपसा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी श्री वृंदावनेश्वरी विष्णुनुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये गजन निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम। So, Vratidharpu, from where we were supposed to start?
I heard we are at 3:5:20, but I was not in the last class. So I'm not, but I saw in the WhatsApp group, yeah, 3:5:20.
No, 3:5:20.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Prabhuji, 3:5:20. Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare. So just give me a minute, I'll start.
Prabhuji, I request if you just have a little bit brief about from the first sloka till 20 sloka, little bit. A glimpse.
No. Glimpse, na? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll just again go through the overview, and after going through the overview, then so that we get a glimpse. So we find here that Vidura was asking question to Maitreya Muni, how to live for real happiness. And then he says this verse of Anugrahaya Charantirunam Bhutani Bhavyani Janardanasya. That how devotees of the Lord, they travel all over the world to show compassion to the fallen conditioned souls. And then Vidura's questions are there. So although actually speaking, he wanted to hear about Krishna directly, but then taking a very humble position, he begins to ask different questions regarding Purusha Avtaras, Virat Roop, Leela Avtaras, then what different living and conditions are there in the different planets. And then he says that I have heard enough about Mahabharata. I don't want to hear Mahabharata. Because he's son of Vyasdev. So being son of Vyasdev, he had already heard Mahabharata very nice. So he told, I don't want to hear Mahabharata. Please speak pure Krishna Katha. And then he begins to glorify the power of Krishna Katha. That why he wants to hear Krishna Katha, he doesn't want to hear Mahabharata. Because Mahabharata generally deals with higher and lower dharmas, which is higher dharma, which is lower dharma, etc. But as far as Krishna Katha is concerned, Krishna Katha vanquishes miseries, increases detachment, creates auspiciousness, and it is the essence of all the topics. And in Krishna Katha, he says, please begin with Purusha Avtaras. So as we had discussed, Purusha Avtaras, their pastime is pastime of creation, maintenance, and destruction. So the three Purusha Avtaras, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Karnadaksha Vishnu, Kshirodaksha Vishnu. And their dealings are the dealings with matter, and that is the reason they are sometimes called Paramatmas. Then Maitreya Muni, he starts glorifying Vidur, saying that you are son of Vyasdev and you are Yamraj himself. And definitely this may be the reason why he didn't want to hear Mahabharat, because being Yamraj, he knows what are lower principles and what are higher principles. That is the duty of Yamraj. And then he said that, Maitreya Rishi said that Lord had left instructions with me for you. So I will now teach you. Now we'll begin with verse 20.
Okay, one quick question here. So, isn't Vidura a more pure devotee than Maitreya Rishi himself?
Yes, yes.
Still, he's inquiring from Maitreya Rishi, even though he's like more senior devotee or a pure devotee.
Yeah. So although he's pure devotee, why he wants to hear from Maitreya Rishi? Because Maitreya Rishi was present when Krishna was speaking to Uddhava. And also by age, Maitreya Rishi is friend, not friend you can say, but you can say friend. Friend of Vyasdev.
Yes, yes.
Vyasdev is his father. So that is the reason.
Okay.
So we are supposed to begin with 20th. Somebody can read 20 and 21.
Okay, Roja, I'll read. I know that you are now Vidura due to the cursing of Mandavya Muni, and that formerly you were King Yamraj, the great controller of living entities after their death. You were begotten by the son of Satyavati, Vyasdev, in the kept wife of his brother.
21
Your,
also.
your good self is one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whose sake the Lord, while going back to his abode, left instructions with me.
So in this way, Maitreya Muni was celebrating his great fortune because he knew that Vidura is so dear to Krishna that Krishna, while departing from this world, was remembering Vidura. So he was saying, please give the instructions to Vidura. And already we know this pastime of how Krishna rejected the Chappan Bhog of Duryodhan, and he took some banana peels from Vidurani. So that is how Vidura is very dear to Krishna. And then Maitreya Muni begins explaining about the process of creation. So what we'll do is,
Ruji, is Vidura present in Chaitanya Leela also?
I don't know. We have to maybe, if he is there, then at least I don't remember very graphically.
Yeah, I haven't read the Chaitanya Chaitamrit, but I was watching a movie on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There they show this Sridhar as Vidura's incarnation. The person who was
No,
selling
actually
vegetables.
Sridhar Kulavecha is the incarnation of Kusumasu. Kusumasu is Madhu Mangal. Sridhar Kulavecha is the incarnation of Madhu Mangal. In Gaurgadadesh Deepika, all these details are given. So, because there are so many associates of the Lord, so I don't remember all of them. Now, what we can do is, just let me go through. I'll share another PPT. Another PPT for creation. the process of creation. So as we know, the process of creation begins with Mahavishnu. First we begin with primary creation, that's called Sarga, and secondary creation is called Visarga. So this Sarga, so Karnodaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu, he lies down on an ocean called Karan Ocean, Karan Sagar. And why it is called Karan Sagar? Because it is cause of everything, Karan. And that is the reason our acharyas translate it as causal ocean, which is the cause of everything. So above the body of Mahavishnu, there are jivas who are in a dormant state or in a sleeping state. And also in unmanifest form, there is Prakriti, Prakriti or material nature. So this Prakriti or material nature is called Pradhan. What is this Pradhan? Pradhan is material energy of the Lord in unmanifest form. So unmanifest form is that she is there but not visible. But not visible. So we can't, like for example, when soul moves from one body to another body along with the subtle body, during that transition period, it may not be visible. Of course, it gets yatana, sarir, and other things and details are there, but I'm just giving an analogy. So that's unmanifest. Unmanifest means you can't hear, you can't smell, you can't touch, you can't imagine. So in this form, it is there. And our acharyas compare it to a woman who is not yet, who doesn't have puberty yet, you can say. Or you can compare it to a woman who has puberty, but she is not yet married. So that means women has the tendency to create a child or produce a child, but her qualities are not yet manifest. So that is how Pradhan is compared to. So this Pradhan is material nature with three modes of material nature in balance. Why three modes of material nature are in balance? If mode of passion becomes prominent, then there is creation. If mode of goodness becomes prominent, then there is maintenance. And if mode of ignorance becomes prominent, then there is destruction. So in this particular Pradhan, goodness, passion and ignorance, all three of them are in balance. That means because there is no passion, there is no creation. Since there is no creation, there is no question of maintenance, there is no question of destruction. So then what does Mahavishnu do? Mahavishnu glances at this Pradhan. So this glance consists of jivas and kal. So who is this kal? Kal means time factor. Kal is time factor. And this time factor is called Lord Shiva, Sambhu Tattva. So this Sambhu Tattva, which is vision of Mahavishnu, which also carries jivas in forms of seeds, touches the material nature. So material nature is represented by Parvati, and Lord Shiva is called Mahakal. If you go to Ujjain, you will find a big temple of Mahakal, because he is the time factor. So in the spiritual world, time is there, but time is under the control of the living entities. That means you can go forward in time or you can go back in the time. Like here also we have a tendency to go back in time. Like people write poems about their childhood. Where are those days gone? You would take a boat made up of paper and put in the streams. So here people can desire to become young again, but they can't become young again. Why? Because here the time factor moves in one direction. Time which is gone is called past, current time is called present, and then there is future. But in the spiritual world, you can go both the ways. You can go back in time, you can be in present, you can be in future also. And that is the reason time factor doesn't exist. In one sense, that it's under control of the living entities or the Lord or the Leela potency. But this Kal or Mahakal, that is Lord Shiva, he moves time only in one direction. So as soon as this Lord Shiva touches the material nature, a painting or a picture turns into a movie. I hope you understand. It's like there's a photograph, and when these photographs are moved, it turns into a movie. So then what happens is, these three modes of material nature become agitated. And when these three modes of material nature are agitated, then same material nature is called Mahatattva. Same is called Mahatattva. I hope that's clear. So whatever I spoke till now, is that clear? See, this is very
Hare
intellectual.
Krishna, Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Prabhuji, where does the living entities come in this?
So living
I got
entities,
the Kala.
yeah, living entities were there over the Mahavishnu, and they're transferred via medium of the glance of Mahavishnu, which is called Kala.
So, along with the Kal, then through Lord Shiva, then through Prakriti, we come. Okay.
Yes, yes. Yeah. So that's why Lord Shiva, sometimes Lord Shiva and Parvati are called mother and father of conditioned souls. So Lord Shiva is Kal, and he touches the Prakriti, and he infuses Prakriti with these living entities. So that's why he's called Mahakal. Okay. So I hope other things are clear.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, yes.
Once the Mahavishnu glance over the three modes of material nature, which are inactive, so after glance over, they become the active. So
Yes.
from that point of view, Prabhuji, little bit again.
Yeah.
So that it will be more, yeah.
Yeah. So as soon as it becomes active, then same material nature which was called Pradhan is now called Mahatattva. So
Same material nature called Mahatattva.
Yes.
So in unmanifested form, it was Pradhan, and
yes.
then when it becomes active, then it is called Mahatattva.
Yes, yes, yes. Very clear. Yes.
And in the Mahatattva, after that, it is written in the this Mahat Buddhi Tattva. That's
that I'm going to explain now.
Okay, okay.
So we had paused so that things are clear till now.
Okay.
So now this Mahatattva, which is agitated Pradhan. Agitated Pradhan, we have three modes of material nature active. Now, if three modes of material nature are active, there will be some portion of Mahatattva in which Sattva-guna is prominent. There would be some Mahatattva where Rajoguna is prominent or predominating. And there would be some portion of Mahatattva where mode of ignorance or Tamogun is predominating. So the portions of Mahatattva in which Sattva-guna is predominating is also called Buddhi Tattva. The Mahatattva in which Rajoguna is predominating, passion is predominating, is called Sutra Tattva. And the portion of Mahatattva in which Tamoguna is predominating is called Ahankar. Okay, so all these three are Mahatattva only, but depending on which mode is predominating, they have three different names: Buddhi Tattva, Sutra Tattva, and Ahankar. So I hope that's clear. Now, from Ahankar, which is Mahatattva with Tamogud in predomination, among them also there would be three portions. One portion where goodness is predominating, another where passion is predominating, third one where ignorance is predominating. So it's like animals are generally in mode of ignorance. But among the animals, cows are in goodness, lion and tiger is in passion, and buffaloes are in ignorance. Water buffaloes are in ignorance. Similarly, within Ahankar also, the portion which has predominance of goodness is separate, passion is separate, and ignorance is separate. Now, the one which has goodness and separate in predominating, from there comes Karta, Gyan, Sakti. I'll explain them one by one. In which passion is predominating, from which that comes Karan and Kriya Sakti. In which ignorance is prominent or predominating is called Kara Sakti and Dravya Sakti. So what is Karta? Karta means Karta Bhav. Karta Bhav means I am the doer, I have done this. So actually speaking, living entity just desires. Who performs all the work? Paramatma via the agency of Mahamaya. Under Mahamaya, all different demigods are there. Like Indra is the one who is in charge of the hand, and he coordinates with Vayu to move our hand up and down. So who is doing it? Paramatma. Paramatma's shadow is Durga Devi. And under Durga Devi, all demigods are there who is doing all the functions of the body. But we think who is doing it? I am doing it. So from where does that tendency comes? That's called Karta Bhav. It is present here, Karta, or doers and mentality. Then there is Karan. Karan means cause. So Karan is produced, and then there's Kar. Kar is effect. So the entire world is the chain of Karan, where the primary Karan and the primary Kar, both of them is Lord Vishnu himself. For example, because I am desiring to speak, so then by the agency of Paramatma, my vocal cord is moving. So my desire becomes the Karan, or you can say Lord's sanction becomes the Karan, and vibrating of the vocal cord becomes the Karya. Now because vocal cord is moving, sound is produced from my mouth. So vibration of vocal cord becomes the Karan, and production of the sound becomes the Karya. Now because the sound is coming from my mouth, it is entering in my mic. So sound coming from the mouth becomes Karan, and the sound entering in the mic becomes the Karya. And because it is entering my mic, it is coming out from your speaker. So my mic becomes the Karan, and your speaker becomes the Karya. Then your speaker becomes the Karan, and moving of your eardrums. So that becomes the Karya. This becomes Karan, that becomes Karya. Then movement of the eardrums becomes the Karan, and then what you hear is Karya. So that is how everything is pair of Karan and Karya. So Karan comes from passion, and Karya comes from effect, comes from this one, Tamo, Ahankara, and mode of ignorance. And also the Gyan Shakti is produced. Gyan Shakti means the power to become knowledgeable about the things which can be perceived by the senses. Like we can hear something, we can smell something, we can see something, touch something. From where does this knowledge come? It comes from Gyan Shakti. The power to do something is called Kriya Shakti, and the ingredients are called Dravya Shakti. So Gyan Shakti, Kriya Shakti, Dravya Shakti. And then comes Adi Dev. Who are this Adi Dev? Adi Dev are the in charges of 24 elements. They are demigods. These demigods are produced even before production of Brahma. So they are there with Mahavishnu. They're Adi Devatas. Then there is Adhyatma. Adhyatma means our own senses, etc. is called Adhyatma, something which is belonging to us. And Adibhut means things which make the objects of this world are called Adibhut. So they are found from goodness, passion, and ignorance, respectively. Now from Adidev, further there is expansion and comes mind and 10 sense devatas. So mind is in goodness actually. And that is the reason to feed something good in mind or even feed something bad in mind, both are difficult. Mind tries to retain the thing. It doesn't want to change. So mind and 10 sense devatas are in goodness. Then comes prana. Prana means basically life. So everything has a life. Like for example, when vegetables don't have life, they become shriveled. It looks as if now the vegetable has died. And this is one of the reasons why people nowadays, despite eating so much, they feel unhealthy. So what they do is, people they take the sabji, put it in the cold storage, and then they use it after 1 year. So that's like preserving a dead body. That's all. The person is gone. So the spices in the olden ages, they were like freshly crushed. Similarly, the grains and the vegetable, they were directly taken from the farms and very quickly used. So that is how the pran. So this comes pran. Pran gives the life here. Then there are 10 senses. They also come in mode of passion. Intelligence is in mode of passion. 5 tanmatras. Tanmatras means sense objects. So for eye, there is object to see. For ear, there is something to hear, sound, some music. For nose, it is something to smell. For tongue, there is something to taste. For skin, there is something to touch. So, and then 5 elements, Bhumin, Apor, Anulo, Vayu, earth, water, fire, air, ether. So they all are produced from ignorance. So that is how the entire elements, they become manifest. Yes, Vratadarpu has a question.
Rohit, this mind that we see here, I understand that the soul, when the soul leaves the body, the mind, intelligence, and ego, which is called subtle body, goes with the soul. So
Yeah.
every soul has the mind component attached to it. Technically, I mean, if I say that, Rohit. So when we are in the shelter of Mahavishnu, do we still have that mind, intelligence, ego with us as soul, or how does it happen, Vijay? And what is this mind then?
Okay. So actually speaking, mind, intelligence, ego, not just mind, intelligence, ego, even senses are a part of subtle body, not the gross body. What is your mind, intelligence, ego? They all are part of subtle body. But when we go to Mahavishnu, then we are pure spirit souls lying on the body of Mahavishnu. We leave our subtle bodies also. We lose our subtle bodies also. And that's the reason when Mahavishnu glances, first we are given the subtle body and then we are given the gross body. So I hope that's clear.
Yes, Rohit.
So that means, Prabhuji, with subtle body, we cannot enter into the home of Mahavishnu.
No.
Yes.
So we
Then
lose
if
our
subtle body, then we can go back home, back to Godhead.
yeah, we can, but we don't have a desire. Rather, what happens sometimes is, sometimes living entities lying on the body of Mahavishnu become awakened for some time and they feel disgusted. Why they feel disgusted? Where is our subtle body and where is our gross body to enjoy? So it is not that Lord has forcefully given us the subtle body and gross body. The truth is that we want subtle body and gross body to enjoy. So that is why the primary thing in bhakti is to change the desires. As soon as we lose the desires to enjoy and we have desire only to serve Krishna and his devotees, no more gross body and subtle body is required. And when that is not required, back to Godhead. So then we directly get a body which is conducive for services, which is not conducive for sense gratification. Current body is designed in a way to enjoy senses, enjoy sense gratification. So I hope that's clear.
Yes, Roji,
Yes.
this is clear. And Roji, what is the mechanism of going from material world to Mahavishnu's body? I mean, how does it happen, Roji? So at what point does we leave our subtle body in the Mahatattva or material nature and then we just escape? How does it?
Yeah. So whatever has happened in the straightforward manner from up to down here, there is a reverse cycle at destruction. And when the entire cycle is complete, we just lie down on the body of Mahavishnu. So rather than putting arrows from up to down, just put the arrows from down to up. That is how destruction takes place. Okay. That is true. Yes, Kitida Vallabha Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, in other words. Prabhuji, the Pran Vayu, okay, this is very interesting. That the air, the Vayu is in mode of ignorance and the Pran Vayu is in passion. Now, when you're using the Ashtanga Yoga, you're using that Vayu, the 7...
Mataji, you are now muted.
sorry, then Brahmarandra, the soul, then goes to Dvam Gachanti. Is that time the Pran Vayu, the soul, is it only going up to the material level or out of this world, out of this material world? And then if they're using the Pran Vayu, the soul, then like why is Pran Vayu mode of passion?
Okay. See, actually this Pran is different from Vayus. You can say Pran takes shelter of one of the Vayus. Pran is basically vitality. So Ojas, Pran, they are different elements. So when we talk about this Pran, it's not Pran Vayu. See, Vayu has already come in the form of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. So there Vayu has come. But this Pran is basically vital force, something which is vitality. So it's little different. And as far as yogis are concerned, Pran Vayu helps the subtle body to move from one gross body to another gross body. And that is why these yogis, they take the help of Pran Vayus, they balance the Vayus by their breathing exercises, and then mechanically they take subtle body to the desired destination. So that is how they do. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, so difference between Prana and Pranavayu. This Prana is vitality.
Vitality, and this Pran may take shelter of one of the Vayus, then it can be called as Pranvayu. Yeah. Any other question? I hope that's clear. So these are the formation of the 24 elements. And then we find here, we have 10 senses and each sense has an in charge called sense devatas. So for ears, the in charge is Dig devatas, the demigods who control the directions. For eyes, there is Surya Dev. For skin, there is Vayu Dev. For nose, there is Ashwini Kumaras. For tongue, there is Varun Dev. For hands, there is Indra. For feet, there is Upindra. So this Upindra is not Bhavan Dev, some demigod Upindra. For voice, there is Agni. So that's why generally people who are having pith, excess of pith, they are very good speakers. So voice. Then Mitra is the in charge for anus, and Prajapati is for genitals. So these 10 demigods, they control the 10 senses. Now again, this is the set of demigods who stay with Mahavishnu. Then there would be another set who would be staying with Garbhodaksha Vishnu. We are not like very sure about that, but we are sure that they are totally different from the demigods who are in charges in this world. So demigods who are in charge in this world, their tenure of power is only for one Manvantar. So in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. So the whole cabinet of demigods changes 14 times. But these demigods are different. They stay with Mahavishnu. And they have control over voice, like Agni. Agni is staying here, would have control over the voice of all the universes, not just one universe. Like within the country also, there is central government. Central government has a home ministry. And then state government also has a home ministry. So these are the ministers of central government, means Mahavishnu. And then there is a ministry of state government, that is other demigods who were there with us in this universe. And then this particular hierarchy is given, that from sound comes ether. Anavati Sabdat, I think I'm from Sabda. From ether comes touch. From touch comes air. Then from air comes form. From form comes fire. From fire comes taste. From taste comes water. From water comes smell. And from smell comes earth. So earth has all the elements within it. So the later ones have all the qualities of the previous ones. Yes. Where is that?
So, Guruji, these demigods at Mahavishnu level, do they have any connection with the demigods that are born from Kashyap Rishi and Aditi Mata? So, understand that the one in our universe, they come from Kashyap and Aditi. So, are they connected in any form? Are they incarnation or something, or is there any connection?
No, they are not incarnation. They are like in charge. Like there may be a connection between the home ministry of the central government and the state government. So similarly, there is some, or there are sometimes divisions of power also. So these details are not given in the script. At least I have not gone across them. So I can speculate, but I don't want to speculate. But what we know is for sure that these are the in charges with Mahavishnu, who are in charges for all the elements or senses throughout the universe. And the ones with Brahma are like secondary. They're not the primary.
This is very mind-boggling, Rohit, because I've never heard this thing, that there are two Suryas or they are at central level and at our level. Very mind-boggling, actually. Thank you, Rohit.
Yeah. Should I shock you a little more?
Sorry, Rohit?
Do you want to get a higher shock also?
Yes, Rohit. Yes, please.
There are demigods in Vaikuntha also.
Oh.
Sorry, demigods in?
Vaikuntha.
Okay.
So that demigods in Vaikuntha, those are their pure devotees. And then these are the demigods who stay with Mahavishnu. And then we have demigods who stay in each universe also. So there are different sets. Different sets are there. So if you go in Brahma Samhita, so there the description of demigods are given who stay in Vaikuntha. So they are different ones. They are pure devotees. So this is our creation. So Ras, Roop, Skand, Sabd, Spars. So these are the tanmatras, sense objects. and Bhumer Apal Anulo Vayu Kham. Earth, water, air, earth, ether. These are the 5 elements. So that is how this primary creation takes place. I could have done this.
Prabhuji, is it back to that previous one?
Okay.
What is this arrow, ether to touch? I mean, can you just little bit?
See, actually, like there is a bud, and bud blooms into a flower slowly. So similarly, from sound comes ether. From ether comes touch. Touch has all the qualities of ether as well as sound. Then from touch comes air. Air has all the qualities of sound, ether, and touch. From air comes form. Form has all the qualities of sound, ether, touch, air, and extra. That's form. And from form comes fire, from fire comes taste, from taste comes water, from water comes smell, and from smell comes earth. So earth has all the qualities of all of them. So that is how the entire creation blooms out, or it blooms, like the blooming of a flower. So I hope that's clear, J.K. Sapru.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so now we'll go ahead. So the little difficult part, but very interesting also. Yes. Now then 23 elements are generated. Actually there are 24, but because one of the elements that is called chitta is skipped here. Chitta is found from Sutratta. There's Mahatattva in Rajogod. No, and some place it is given Buddhitattva also. Some place it is given Sutratta, somewhere it is given Buddhitattva. So they contribute to a quality called chitta. So that is escaped here. Chitta is the one which helps the soul to identify with matter. So in Antakaran, in the region of the heart, there is Man, Buddhi, Ahankar, and Chitta. So all 4 of them are the elements. So Man is mind, Buddhi is intelligence, Ahankar is false ego, and Chitta is, Prabhupada translates it as containment consciousness. Although it is just a material element, it has nothing to do with consciousness. But there are no good words in English. So our acharyas translate it as containment consciousness. So this is the 24 elements. And then what happens is that these
Prabhuji,
elements
5 tanmatras, what are those 5s?
So tanmatras are these 5: sound, touch, form, smell, and taste.
Okay, tanmatra bolte hai. Okay.
So they are called tanmatras. So these elements are there, but they are in unmixed state. So if you want to make a sabji, you have to mix the masalas and all the things. Like brother Fru tells to his wife that no, please make sabji for me. And she takes a bottle guard, Loki, and she cuts into small pieces and says, open the mouth. Throws all the log in his mouth. And then she says, no, now open your mouth. And she puts different spices in the mouth. And then she puts the salt. And then she says, now you can mix around and the sabji is done. No, that won't be very palatable. So what has to be done? These things have to be mixed outside so the vegetable is prepared nicely, and then one can take the vegetables. So that is why all these elements were created. Their in charges were the devatas are created, but they were not able to mix together. And because they were not able to mix together, they start praying to the Lord. So when Lord hears their prayers, actually we'll go them verse by verse. I'm just giving them very concisely, very quickly. And then Lord hears their prayers. then he sends his Vibrat Shakti, who is a potency. And sometimes it's called Kali also. So this potency helps all these elements to mix together. And when they mix together, then they form the Karan Sagar. They form the Karan Sagar. And then this Karan Sagar, because Mahavishnu is lying down, so when we put our hand in the water, inside the water, then we'll see small bubbles are formed. Similarly, from these pores of Mahavishnu, in this Karan Sagar, which is made of all these elements mixed together, each of these universes come out. And then they expand and expand and expand. And they remain expanding and they wait for 1000 years. After 1000 years, Garbhodaksha Vishnu enters in this universe and enlivens the universe. So this is the next step. And from then Garbhodaksha Vishnu sprouts a lotus flower. And there is an expansion of Mahavishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, that is called Virat Purusha. Virat Purusha is basically a blueprint of the universe itself. Like before making a building, we have a blueprint. Similarly, this blueprint of the entire universe is Virat Purusha. And by seeing this Virat Purusha at the top of the lotus, Lord Brahma comes. And this Brahma uses the ingredients of the lotus itself to put things on the right place, just position them on the right places in Virat Roop. And that is how the universe is manifest. So I had other slides also, but secondary creation. But main thing is they're part of our next unit. So I'll explain them a little later. We'll have a pause here and then we will review this.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, the next slide.
No, we'll not discuss that now. I didn't want to show the slide.
Next to that. This one, if you please.
No, I'll not explain them now. I'll explain them in next chapters. But I'll explain them, don't worry. Okay? So they are all, and certainly you will read about them in detail in 5th canto.
Again in the 5th canto.
5th canto, all this sthanam. Sthanam is the different positions of planets. It's explained very nicely in the 5th canto. So that's part of 5th canto. So now we'll go back to our verses. So I hope the creation is very clear. Just yes. Okay. So I've already explained them. Now we can just go through the verses. Somebody would like to read 22 and 23? Translation.
I shall therefore describe to you the pastimes by which the personality of Godhead extends his transcendental potency for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic world as they occur one after another. The personality of Godhead, the master of all living entities, existed prior to the creation as one without a second. It is by his will only that creation is made possible, and again everything merges in him. This supreme self is symptomized by different names. Hare Krishna. 24.
So we can just continue.
Yes. The Lord, the undisputed proprietor of everything, was the only seer, The cosmic manifestation was not present at that time, and thus he felt imperfect without his plenary and separated parts and parcels. The material energy was dormant, whereas the internal potency was manifested.
So Mahavishnu was feeling separation from part and parcel. Who's part and parcel? All of us. Yes. Please read 25th.
The Lord is the seer, and the external energy which is seen works as both cause and effect in the cosmic manifestation. O greatly fortunate Vidura, this external energy is known as Maya or illusion, and through her agency only is the entire material manifestation made possible.
So internal energy was present, but external energy was not there. It was dormant. And this energy is called Maya or illusion. Please read 26.
The Supreme Living Being in his feature as the Transcendental Purusha incarnation, who is the Lord's plenary expansion, impregnates the material nature of three modes, and thus by the influence of eternal time the living entities appear.
So he is the one who impregnates the three modes of material nature through Kala. So living entities, when they come with their karma and swabhav. So whatever they have done previously and their natures, they are with those two things, they are impregnated in material nature. Please read 27, 28.
Someone else would like to read?
Somebody want to read?
Okay, I'll read. Thereafter, influenced by the interactions of eternal time, the supreme sum total of matter called the Mahatattva became manifested, and in this Mahatattva, the unalloyed goodness, the Supreme Lord, sowed the seeds of universal manifestation out of his own body. Thereafter, the Mahatattva differentiated itself into many different forms as the reservoir of the would-be entities. The Mahatattva is chiefly in the mode of ignorance, and it generates the false ego. It is the plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead with full consciousness of creative principle and time for fructification.
So same thing we have explained there, how Mahatattva comes from Pradhan, and then it is divided into three parts: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And the part predominated by ignorance is called false ego. Please read 29th.
Mahatattva, or the great causal truth, transforms into false ego, which is manifested in three phases: cause, effect, and the doer. All such activities are on the mental plane and are based on the material elements, gross senses, and mental speculation. The false ego is represented in three different modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance.
So then how false ego is there, and it has three portions predominating in goodness, passion, and ignorance. Please read 30th.
The false ego is transformed into mind by interaction with the mode of goodness. All the demigods who control the phenomenal world are also products of the same principle, namely the interaction of false ego and the mode of goodness.
Yes. So false ego interacting with goodness produces the mind and the demigods.
Sometimes Prabhupada uses this word phenomenal world. So what is phenomenal, Prabhuji? Not just, is it different from this world?
So there are two words used, nominal and phenomenal. There is generally used for material world and spiritual world.
Okay. So 31 now, Prabhuji?
31. Yes.
The senses are certainly products of the mode of passion in false ego, and therefore philosophical speculative knowledge and fruitive activities are predominantly products of the mode of passion.
Yeah. So this is justified here why intelligence is said to be in mode of passion. So why intelligence is said to be in mode of passion? Because philosophical speculative knowledge and fruitive activities, they all are planned by the intelligence. That means one is supposed to do something. So that's why they're supposed to be in mode of passion. So that reason is given here.
Guruji, if the intelligence is purified, then it becomes mode of goodness, or it is still in mode of passion, Guruji?
Okay. Let me ask you a question. If a potato, we make a sabji of the potato and we offer to the Lord. So does it remain a potato or it becomes a pumpkin?
Potato, Guruji, but sanctified potato now.
Yeah. So similarly, goodness, passion, ignorance, things they remain goodness, passion, ignorance, but then because they're offered to the Lord, they're called transcendental. So for devotees, actually speaking, they don't hate either of the modes, and they don't relish any of the modes. Rather, they use all the things of all the modes in Krishna service. So that is how things become transcendent. So suddenly, for mode of goodness is more conducive for Krishna consciousness. But then whatever things may be, we just offer them to the Lord and they come. Is it 32 now?
Oh, इसमें what you have given the example of potato?
It's like potato is there. When we offer to the Lord, it doesn't become a pumpkin. It remains a potato only. But then it becomes potato prasad. We don't say, oh, it is supposed to offer to the Lord. And potatoes are generally in mode of ignorance. Many of our ISKCON devotees don't like it. But that's the truth. Potatoes is sabji in mode of ignorance. So it doesn't turn into mode of goodness sabji like pumpkin or bottle gourd or something like that. But when it is offered to the Lord, it becomes prasad.
So similarly, potato is mode of ignorance.
So potato is not offered to Jagannath in Puri, right, Ji? Because it is not the.
Actually, it is not offered to Jagannath, but it's not a part of
Indian
Vedic culture.
Okay.
So it is imported from the West.
Yes.
So,
So we
Guruji,
should
is the original culture like Jain people? They don't eat anything that is below the ground. Is that the thing?
Yeah, see, for Jains many times the reason is that they live more of a life of a vanprastha, you see. So actually speaking, Jains are imitators of Lord Rishabdev. So Arhat was the person whom sometimes Jain call as Arihant. He imitated Rishabdev, and that is how Jainism came into picture. So, but because Rishabdev himself was like very austere, he won't take many things. But Jains also don't take many things. So that's the primary.
But that is not recommended for Kali Yuga, right, Prabhuji? This Jainism is.
No, it's a deviation. If you see in the fifth canto, it's very clearly given it's a deviation.
Yes.
Because he was following Ajgar Vritti, Rishabdev. And it's not possible for normal person. So renunciation has to be practiced according to the level of one's detachment. Otherwise, same thing is condemned by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He says to Arjuna that if your heart is in mode of passion and ignorance, and externally you shut down the senses, your mind will still dwell into the sense objects. And such a person is called pretender. That's what Krishna condemns in chapter number 3 and chapter number 5.
Mithyachara.
Mithyachara. So then that is condemned. Okay, so now, yes, we can go to 32.
The sky is a product of sound, and sound is a transformation of egoistic ignorance. In other words, the sky is a symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul.
Yeah. So things come from sound. So all metal elements also come from metals. So it comes from from Mahatattva and mode of ignorance comes false ego. From false ego, which is predominating in ignorance, comes sound. And from sound, other metal elements come. Please read 33 now.
So Broji, so sound is like cannot be seen actually. I mean, there's no matter in sound, but still from sound we get material elements.
See, sound we can hear, we may not see.
Yes, Broji.
And sound also, sound which we hear, because this is one question which many devotees have. So from sound came ether, and sound should not need ether. So sound is not like just of one type. There are 4 types of sound. So there is I forgot the first one. Para, Pasyanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari. There are 4 types of sound vibrations. So para is actually spiritual sound vibration. And this para vibration entered through the Mooladhara chakra of Lord Brahma. And then there is Pasyanti and Madhyama, which are on the level of intelligence and mind. So sometimes we may not speak from mouth, but we speak in our mind. Sometimes we speak through the intelligence. And the sound which comes from from the mouth is called Vaikhari. So Vaikhari may need a medium of ether, but not para, Pasyanti and Madhyama. You don't know. Okay. Now we can go to the next verses, 33 and 34.
Therefore, thereafter, the personality of Godhead glanced over the sky, partly mixed with eternal time and external energy, and thus developed a touch sensation from which the air in the sky was produced. Thereafter, shall I continue?
Please.
Thereafter, the extremely powerful air interacting with the sky generated the form of sense perception, and the perception of form transformed into electricity, the light to see the world.
So that is how the sequence I was telling. From ether, from sound comes ether. From ether comes then touch. From touch comes air. From air comes the form. From form comes the fire. And from fire comes the taste. From taste comes the water. From water comes the smell. From smell comes the earth. That is how zigzag it goes like. So that is explained here. Pages 35 and 36.
When electricity was surcharged in the air and was glanced over by the Supreme, at that time, by a mixture of eternal time and external energy, there occurred the creation of water and taste. Thereafter, the water produced from electricity was glanced over the Supreme Personality of Godhead and mixed with eternal time and external energy. Thus, it was transformed into the earth, which is qualified primarily by smell.
Although it's not given in scriptures, but something which we can really see is earth has the element of smell. And that is why we generally find that flowers which are artificially generated, they don't get the touch of the earth. They don't have much smell. Nowadays, the flowers come. Even if you push the whole flower into the nose, no smell comes out. And the whole reason is that they don't get a touch of the earth. Like when I was in Calcutta, it's like useless flowers. You don't get smell in them. But when I came here, and I'm just near Puri, here roses are really very fragrant. And the reason is because they are naturally produced. So for getting the smell, one needs the quality of earth.
So Broji, like in Singapore, they are doing some kind of cultivation on water. They are using some kind of hydra plants, which are just grown on water. So it means that all the same seed that is used in earth and same seed that is used or plant in hydra-based cultivation. So they will not have any smell whereas the earth one will be more fragrant and more nutritious.
Actually, supposed to be like, for example, even a lotus has fragrance. Even lotus has fragrance, or water lilies have fragrance. And the whole reason is actually what happens is, I was given an example, but what happens is, after these elements are made purely, then they mix together. So even water has some element of earth. Similarly, air also has some element of earth, water, fire, air, everything. So they're mixed together. But main thing is when we try to do something artificial away from nature. So then one will not get those qualities which are generally produced by the nature. So I hope that's clear.
Yes, Roji, clear.
Okay. We can go to the next verses 37, 38.
O gentle one, of all the physical elements, beginning from the sky down to the earth, all the inferior and superior qualities are due only to the final touch of the glance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The controlling deities of all the above mentioned physical elements are empowered expansions of Lord Vishnu. They are embodied by eternal time under the external energy, and they are his parts and parcels. Because they were entrusted with different functions of universal duties and were unable to perform them, they offered fascinating prayers to the Lord as follows.
So that is how this controlling deities, the different elementary demigods. So they came into picture, and because they were not able to mix, they started offering prayers. So we had already discussed that, but now we'll discuss the prayers. So they're beautiful prayers by the demigods. So these are they're offering the prayers to the Lord, the hope that we'll get an empowerment to serve the Lord. So they want to serve the Lord by mixing all the elements, and that is why they were offering prayers. So similarly, for all of us also, when we are given some services, then we beg the mercy of the Lord in the form of prayers in order to execute those services. Like we have Mangalasana before the class, so that Lord can give us energy, can give us power to serve. Yes, Vratadhar Prabhu.
Louis, because I'm still a bit bewildered by this demigod thing. So I had a query, Roji. So I hear that sometimes it is said that when somebody is having health trouble, they're asked to pray to sun god to get rid of health issues. So this sun god is Roji at our world level, or just also at Karnadaksha Vishnu level?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So generally, when we offer these to demigods, now they may go up the line also, quite possible. Hare Krishna with the network. So just give me a minute. I hope my voice would be clear now.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So now for us, what actually happens is, these are the controlling deities of a function. Function established by the Supreme Lord. Like for example, now we may pay taxes and we may not be even aware who is the finance minister or electricity board minister. We may not be aware whether our taxes are going to the central government or to the state government, but we continue getting the benefit. So similarly, we may not know the exact details how these powers are shared by the demigods of with Mahavishnu or with the local demigods. But when we offer the prayers, we offer the prayers to the department. And then that department gives us the results. And that is the reason why the prayers or worship of these demigods is not considered bhakti. So it's more of a transaction. It's like pay the bills and get the electricity or water supply. So I hope that's clear.
Yes, Roji.
So let's see whether 20. Let's see. 39. See, actually 39 is also a beautiful verse. Just give me a minute. What I'll do. I'll now show it from Vedabase. They're beautiful verses. What recite. So just a minute, testing time. I hope that's visible now to all the devotees.
Yes, Roji.
So you can repeat after me. Deva uchuhu
Deva Chuhu
Chuhu
namamate deva padaravindam
Namamate
Padaravindam
Vindam
prapannatapopasamat patram
Prapannatapopasamatapatram
yanmulaketa yatayo anjasoru
Yanmulakitayatayo
Jato
sansara dukkham bahirutchipanti.
Sansara
Samsara
Dukkam
Dukkam
Vayu
Read the translation and then I'll explain the verse. Beautiful verse.
The demigod said, O Lord, your lotus feet are like an umbrella for the surrendered souls, protecting them from all the miseries of material existence, all the sieges under the shelter throw of all material miseries. We therefore offer our respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet.
Thank you. So this verse says, Deva Uchu, the demigod said, Namam te deva padaravindam. Oh my dear Lord, we offer our respectful obeisances to your lotus feet. Arvindam is lotus and padam is feet. So that is how Prabhupada translated as lotus feet. So Namam te deva padarvindam prapanna tapopi samatpatram. So we take shelter prapanna of samatpatram. So this is called atapatram. So upasama. So we take shelter of a lotus feet because they are like umbrella. So they're compared to atapatram or umbrella. So what does the umbrella do? Whenever we carry the umbrella, the rains or the raindrops which fall on the umbrella, they are thrown away. So they don't reach our head, they are thrown away by the umbrella. Similarly, my dear Lord, your lotus feet are also like umbrella, which throw away the distress which is bound to come to us. So we were supposed to be miserable, but our lotus feet are like that umbrella which throws away the misery. So that is how they glorify the Lord. Lord's lotus feet like umbrella. Sansara dukkham bahir uchpan. So this is directly you can read the translation.
O Father, O Lord, O personality of Godhead, the living entities in the material world can never have any happiness because they are overwhelmed by the three kinds of miseries. Therefore, they take shelter of the shade of your lotus feet, which are full of knowledge, and we also thus take shelter of them.
So living entities who are suffering from three kinds of miseries. What are the three kinds of miseries?
Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, and Adi Devi.
Yes, Adhyatmik, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik places.
Really, is this connected to the three that we just saw in the slides?
Yes, yes, yes. See, Adhyatmik means something which is part of our existence. That's called Adhyatmik. So the misery is coming from one's own body, and mind is called Adhyatmik. Adi Bhautik means which are external miseries, that is coming from sense objects or from the people around us. And Adi Devik means coming from demigods. So cold, heat, rain, floods, famines, they all are controlled by demigods. That's why they call Adi Devik. So they have connection. Okay. So that's why they say, therefore we take shelter of your lotus feet, which is full of knowledge, and that's the reason we take shelter of your lotus feet. And this one beautiful verse. You can set after me. Marganti yatte mukhapadmanides
Marganti jatte padminde
Chanda suparne risayo vivekte
chanda
Chandasu
suparni
rasayo vivekte
Yassagamarso dasaridvaraya
yasagamatso
Yasagamatsodasaridvaraya
Padam padam tirtha pada prapannaha.
padam
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 tirtha pada
prapanna.
Please read the translation.
The lotus feet of the. Okay, Mataji. Please go, Mataji.
Okay, Hare Krishna. The lotus feet of the Lord are by themselves the shelter of all places of pilgrimage. The great clear-minded sages, carried by the wings of the Vedas, always search after the nest of your lotus-like face. Some of them surrender to your lotus feet at every step by taking shelter of the best of rivers, the Ganga, which can deliver one from all sinful reactions.
Thank you. So this verse speaks about a beautiful analogy. So padam padam tirth prapada prapanna. So Lord's lotus feet is like place of pilgrimage. Wherever Krishna puts his feet, it becomes a place of pilgrimage. Especially in India, you go all over India, you'll find some place where people say, there are lotus feet of Sita Ram here. And Lord Ram practically traveled whole India during his exile. So, no, he purifies all the places. So Lord's lotus feet are like the place of pilgrimage, and that's why the Saritvaraya, the Ganga which comes from the Lord's lotus feet, is purifying to everyone. But those who are searching for the Lord, so Lord is compared to a tree. So tree has the roots and tree has the shoot, upper part. So the upper part of the tree, that is the place where birds make the nest. So similarly, those who are advanced soul, clear-minded sages, those who are Raganuga Bhaktas or Ragatmika Bhaktas, so anyway more advanced. So these people have great attraction for Lord's face. So they're so much attracted by Lord's beauty that they automatically are attracted to the Lord. So these sages, they are like the birds who are carried away by two wings. What are these two wings? They are the wings of Vedas. So by the wings of the Vedas, they go and make the nest as their houses. And where is that nest made? It is made on the face of the Lord. So being attracted by Krishna's beauty, they do like that. But now other sages may be there who may not be like very, very advanced. So our devotees, most of our devotees are also like that sages. So what they do, they follow in the footsteps of those sages who are like birds. Now we know if this particular bird is going to the nest, what we can do? follow the shadow of the birds. If we follow the shadow of the birds, we will reach the root of the tree. So similarly, those who are sages, who are not very advanced, they take shelter of those sages who are very advanced, and they take the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And these lotus feet of the Lord are very purifying. And from that comes Saritvaraya, from that comes the best of the river, that is Ganga. And that is how they get free from their sins. Ag Marsoda. So they become free from their agami sins. So that they get rid of the sins. So in this particular verse, Lord is compared to like a tree. Beautiful. Read the translation.
Simply by hearing about your lotus feet with eagerness and devotion, and by meditating upon them within the heart, one at once becomes enlightened with knowledge, and on the strength of detachment, one becomes pacified. We must therefore take shelter of the sanctuary of your lotus feet.
Thank you. So simply by hearing all Lord's lotus feet with eager and devotion, by meditating on the heart. So when we'll go to the Kapil Dev section, Lord Kapila section, so then we'll find Lord Kapila has spoken the effect of each and every limb of Lord's lotus feet. So how each of the part is very, very purified. Sanchittayet bhagavatas charanaravindam Vajrankustatsarorulanchanadyam Uttungarakta vilasannaka chakravala Josnavirahatamahat pranamandakaram. So Sanchittet bhagavatas charanaravindam. So the yogi is supposed to meditate on Lord's lotus feet. And what is there? Vajra. Vajra is thunderbolt. There is son of thunderbolt on Lord's lotus feet. And what does that meditation on the sign of thunderbolt do? When we meditate on that sign of thunderbolt on the Lord's lotus feet, the thunderbolt, it makes a mountain into small, small powder. So when we meditate on Lord's lotus feet, the mountains of sins and the mountain of false ego which we have accumulated is turned into powder immediately. So the power of meditating on the thunderbolt sign. Ankus. Ankus is elephant goad. So those who are elephant carriers, they carry this ankus to control the elephants. So similarly, this elephant is compared to the mind. It's very powerful, very difficult to control. But this elephant carrier carries the ankus to control the mind. Similarly, whenever somebody meditates on this elephant goad, sign of elephant goad in the Lord's lotus feet, one gets control over one's mind. One's mind can be controlled. So in this way, we'll not go in detail. It's like a different topic. We'll discuss a little later. So each of the portions get enlivened. And that is how. And Josnabe Ahatmat, this is more connected. So Lord's toenails, they give the effulgence of the moon. And this effulgence of moon removes the darkness of ignorance within our heart. So that's how, by meditating on Lord's toenails, one gets the knowledge of Upanishads. So we should not minimize the power of taking darshan of the Lord. Sometimes we are too busy and we don't have much time to take darshan of the Lord. But taking darshan of each and every limb of the Lord has a different effect. It's very beautiful. So that's how one's heart becomes enlivened with knowledge. And when one gets knowledge, detachment automatically comes. And with the strength of the detachment, one's mind becomes pacified. So that is how one can get completely pacified just by meditating on Lord's lotus feet. So that's why they say we want to take shelter of those lotus feet.
Prabhuji, these days there's so much paraphernalia and distance from the Lord that only the Lord's face is visible, and practically you cannot see any other bodily features. Very difficult to see these.
It's a rare opportunity, but Krishna's lotus feet, at least in our temples, is like.
In ISKCON temples, yes, Prabhuji, yes, that is not an issue.
Krishna is very merciful. See, Krishna is considered more merciful than Lord Narayan. The reason is Lord Narayan is covered with his feet. They're sometimes covered. But Krishna says, you want to take shelter of me? He even shows the sole of his feet. Come and take shelter. So the signs on Lord's lotus feet are visible only in Krishna's feet. They're not visible in Lord Narayan's feet. So, ISKCON temple, we can get all the mercy. They're all beautiful prayers, but worth reciting. But because we have less time, we'll just go through translation. Please read the translation.
Translation. O Lord, you assume incarnation for the creation, maintenance and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. And therefore we all take shelter of your lotus feet because they always award remembrance and courage to your devotees.
Yeah. So similarly, he says that you assume the incarnation of Garbhodaksha, Karnodaksha, Kshirodaksha, Vishnu for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And that's why we take shelter of you. It is, my dear Lord, ultimately your service, and we want to assist in your service. So we are taking shelter of your lotus feet because they award the remembrance and courage to your devotees. Yes, Bharatadharko.
Prabhuji, what is the exact meaning of the word Maheshwar? Because it is used for Krishna also, like Sarvaloka Maheshwaram, and we see here Brahma, Vishnu in the purport. Srila Prabhupada writes Maheshwar. Generally, we say Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. So, what is the exact meaning, Prabhuji, of Maheshwar word?
Maheshwar comes from the word Maha Ishwar, a great controller. So Ishwar means controller, and Maheshwar means great controller. So we are small controllers. So one was great control is called Maheshwar. Now contextually, this may be referring to others, Lord Shiva or sometimes Lord Vishnu. So in the purview of this material nature, Lord Shiva is considered Maheshwar because he is a time factor. Time is controlling everyone. But because Krishna is controlling time also, so he can also be called Maheshwar. Sarvaloka Maheshwara. Suvidam Sarvbhutana Gatam Sadhu. So there Krishna is called Maheshwar. Please read translation. Next translation.
Correct, Prabhuji. Oh, Mataji, you ready? Okay.
Okay, you can continue, Brahma.
Hare Krishna. O Lord, persons who are entangled by undesirable eagerness for the temporary body and kinsmen, and who are bound by thoughts of mine and I, are unable to see your lotus feet. Although your lotus feet are situated within their own bodies, but let us take shelter of your lotus feet.
So those who are absorbed in bodily consciousness can't see the lotus feet of the Lord. So Lord is situated as the Paramatma within the heart, and he has lotus feet. But we can't see those lotus feet. We have to take shelter of them. And the reason is attachment. Attachment to this body and the products of the body. So body means basically sense gratification. So to the degree we are attached to sense gratification, we look for sense objects rather than meditating on the lotus feet. Please read next one.
O great Supreme Lord, offensive persons whose internal vision has been too affected by external materialistic activities cannot see your lotus feet. But Those feet are seen by your pure devotees, whose one and only aim is to transcendentally enjoy your activities.
So those who look for enjoyment in sense objects, their vision becomes external. They look for external sense objects to enjoy, and that's why they can't enjoy transcendental happiness, which comes by service to the Lord. So those who desire to serve the Lord, they just meditate on Lord's activities. And those who don't want to have that sort of enjoyment, they look for enjoyment outside. So they can't see the activities of the Lord. Like nowadays, like very easy to explain it. You must have seen sometimes, no, people, even those who go to forest or some other places, the lab of nature. So generally earlier people would go there to relax. But now we find even people who go to those places are absorbed in their mobiles. So you are in a place which is filled with mode of goodness, but one is not absorbed in those things. One is just absorbed in something in mode of passion. So that is how we have Supreme Lord within our heart, and He can reciprocate with us. But we are so absorbed in other things that one doesn't enjoy those activities. But those who are pure devotees of the Lord, they enjoy the activities of the Lord. This is also a beautiful verse. We'll recite this verse. Panena te deva katha sudaya.
Panena deva kada sudaya.
Pravritta bhaktya visitasayaye.
Pravriddha bhaktya
Visadasayaye.
Vairagya saram pratilabha bodham.
Vairagyasaram pratilabhya bodham.
Yathanjasanvyur akuntadhishnam.
Yathānjasanvyur akuntadishnyam.
Read the translation.
O Lord, persons who, because of their serious attitude, attain the stage of enlightened devotional service, achieve the complete meaning of renunciation and knowledge, and attain the Vaikuntha in the spiritual sky simply by drinking the nectar of your topics.
Thank you. So, panena te deva katha sudhaya. By drinking the nectar, sudha is called nectar, the nectar of your topics, what happens? Pravritta bhaktya visitasayaye. So those who are highly enlightened living devotees, they perform devotion service simply by hearing about you, simply by hearing about you. And vairagya saram pratilabhya bodham. And these topics, they are filled with renunciation of this world, because the ultimate purpose of renouncing the material pleasure is to concentrate on the real pleasure of Krishna's topics. So that is what renunciation is meant for. Because actual renunciation is renunciation from sense gratification. So when one doesn't have desire to enjoy sense gratification, that is called vairagya. So vairagya is not just absence of sense objects, because even if physically sense objects are not, that person enjoy the sense objects in the mind. Tendency doesn't go away. Like once our temple brahmacharis were going, and there was one Moni Baba. He won't speak. But then he wrote in a slate, he would write. So he wrote in the slate that India-Pakistan cricket match is going on, what is the score? So then, although physically there is vairagya, but mind is not yet detached. So that's why the actual vairagya is the renunciation from desire to enjoy. So vairagya saram. The ultimate purport of all vairagya is to be attached to Krishna. So ultimate purpose of detachment is attachment, but attachment to Krishna. So pratilabdha bodham, and that is how, by being enlightened by devotion service, simply by hearing about you, one gets meaning of renunciation and one gets knowledge. And what is the benefit of getting such a knowledge? Yathanjasa vyur akunta dishnam. Such a person goes to Vaikuntha in this picture. So so everything is possible simply by hearing about the nectarian topics of Krishna Katha. So that is how they discuss, they glorify Krishna Katha in this verse. Okay. We can hear this verse also. Tatha pare chatma samadhi yoga.
Tatha pare
Samadhi yoga.
yoga.
Valena jitva prakritim balishtham.
Balena
Balena
jitva
jitva
prakrtim
balishtam.
balishtam.
Tvameva dhiraha purusam visanti.
Tvameva
Diraha
purusham
purusam visante.
Tesam saramasya natu sevayate.
Tesham shramayasya
Samasya tu
sevayate.
sevayate.
Please read the translation.
Others who are pacified by means of transcendental self-realization and have conquered over the modes of nature by dint of strong power and knowledge also enter into you. But for them there is much pain, whereas the devotee simply discharges devotional service and thus feels no such pain.
So there's like a very beautiful verse which depicts the difference between the Jnanis and the Bhaktas. Jnanis, Yogis and the Bhaktas basically. Jnanis and Yogis, they also get Krishna. Like Jnanis get effulgence of Krishna, which is Krishna. That's Brahma Jyoti. Yogis, they also, those who are Yogis generally they desire to go to Brahman. They also get effulgence of Krishna. Those who are Yog Mishra Bhaktas, they also get Krishna. But those who are Suddha Bhaktas, pure devotees, those who are practicing pure devotion service, for them there is not such pain. They enjoy this world, they enjoy the next world. So that is how for them the process is very simple. So I explain generally things very elaborately in Bhakti Shastri classes. So like if we see in the first 7th chapter and 8th chapter, there's more of a discussion of Karma Mishra Bhaktas, Jnana Mishra Bhaktas and Yoga Mishra Bhaktas in 7th and 8th chapter. So for them, we see the process is so big. It's like so difficult. But chapter number 9 and 10 of Bhagavad Gita, they discuss about Suddha Bhakta. For them, no, Lord says, I take care. Ananya Chintayanto Mam Yena Paripasate Tesam Nityapiyuktanam Yogachim Vameha. So those who are Ananya Bhaktas, so for them Lord says, Anas Chintayanto Mam Yena Paripasate, those who do my upasana, my worship, with Ananya Bhakti, pure devotion service. So for them, what to say of their spiritual advancement, even their material bodies, I take care of. Yoga Chem Vahama. So I provide what they lack and I preserve what they have. So that is how Lord is like, no, for devotees it's like very easy. Like if we read the commentaries on Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita also. So what Lord says? This one. Machitta madgata prana bodhayantu parasparam tattattasya mamnitam tu sandhicha ramanticha. So machitta, their chitta, they're totally conscious of me. They're always like thinking of me. Machitta. Madgat prana. They maintain the bodies, life airs in their bodies because they want to serve me. That means if you tell them, give up Krishna consciousness, they'll say, we'll give up their lives. Because we maintain the breath in our bodies for pleasing Krishna. Bodhayantu parasparam. They discuss Krishna Katha with each other. So sandhicha ramanticha. That is how they enjoy this life. So they enjoy this life also.
Prabhuji, when Krishna says that I provide what devotee lacks and preserve what they have, this is for spiritual things or only for also material things also, Prabhuji?
Material things also. Lord will give us all material things, whatever is required for our practice of Krishna consciousness. See what happens for devotees, pure devotees. See, for generally people in general, they enjoy facilities and sense objects because of their karma. So if they have punya, they will get sense objects. If there's no punya, they will not get any sense objects. Now with practice of devotion service, all punya and papa is eradicated. There's no sin, there's no piety. Then how will devotees get sense objects for sustenance in this world? That's provided by Krishna himself. Because there's no punya and no pap, how will one get? The Krishna himself provides. And that is why for pure devotees, their opulences are not material opulences, they are spiritual opulences. So Prabhupada writes now, that's why competing with the pure devotee is condemned. Why? Because their opulences are not material opulences, their opulences are spiritual opulences, which Krishna has given them because Krishna wants to maintain them. And also they use everything for Krishna service. Their existence is meant for Krishna service. And that is the reason why Krishna himself killed Eklavya, one of the most controversial figures of Indian political history. So they were condemned, saying, oh, this Eklavya was exploited by the upper caste people, he was from a lower caste, so people use it politically very so much. But Bhakti Saraswati has written an article on Eklavya. So he writes there that Eklavya is condemned not just because he was rejected by this Dronachar, but he was condemned because he was competing with Arjuna. So that is condemned. Why it is condemned? Because Arjuna's opulence is not material opulence, it is spiritual opulence. Pandavas used all their skills for pleasing Krishna. As soon as they saw Krishna had left the planet, they also left the planet. He didn't want any victory, he wanted no fame. But Eklavya had material desires. So that's why trying to imitate the spiritual opulence of a pure devotee is very punishable and offensive.
So, Prabhuji, if this generally happens, Prabhuji, when some devotee does kirtan and they sing very nicely, I sometimes feel that I should also try to sing. At least I should also, I mean, there's a desire that I should also be doing, because I don't do nice kirtan, Prabhuji. My kirtan is very bad. So there's a desire to do nice kirtan. So how is this? Is this also condemnable, Prabhuji, or?
The desire to please Krishna is something we should accept from pure devotees. But desire to become materially excellent like them so that people will praise us is condemned. So I hope you understand. So that difference.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I have one question. Actually, Pandavas, we all know that Pandavas are they are the great devotees of Lord Krishna. But in Mahabharata, many places it's mentioned that they are the devotees of Lord Shiva. Since they are Kshatriyas, they were worshipping Lord Shiva. So how is it that they are using everything in Krishna's seva? I have seen many times, I don't know whether these TV serials are correct or not, but in Mahabharata also it is mentioned, it seems there Kunti is worshipping Lord Shiva, Lord means Shiva Linga, and Pandavas are also worshipping, Draupadi is also worshipping Lord Shiva. Is that correct, or TV serials are showing wrong? It is.
Details are correct and the spirit is wrong. I would say the details are correct and the purports are wrong. And that is the reason we should not learn from these TV serials. They are very misguiding.
Okay.
So details are right. Like gopis also worshipped Katyayani, but for what purpose? To get Krishna as a husband. Similarly, Pandavas being Kshatriyas, it was their responsibility to perform certain karmakandi yagyas and worship the demigods as a part of Kshatriya Dharma. But their purpose was not to please Lord Shiva, their purpose was to please Krishna. On the order of Krishna, Arjuna did tapasya of Lord Shiva and got Pasupati Astra. But the purpose was not to please Lord Shiva, it was to please Krishna. Because Krishna wanted Arjuna to worship Lord Shiva and get Pasupati Astra, Arjuna did that.
Okay.
So that's why, like we find Bharat Maharaj also. Bharat Maharaj performed a lot of karma kandi yajnas. Now Bharat Maharaj is pure devotee. How can he perform karma kandi yajnas? We learn further in Bhagavata. But when he was doing that, he was doing it as a duty. He was doing it via the Adhvari Uprish. And when there was Indra Swaha, he would meditate on that we are offering oblations to Lord's hand. Chandra Swaha, we are offering oblations to Lord's mind, Lord Vishnu's mind. And in this way, by this meditation, Bharat Maharaj was advancing in Krishna consciousness. You may be bewildered. How can somebody perform advancing Krishna consciousness like karma kandi yajnas? So, karma kandi yajnas are karma kandi when the connection with Lord Vishnu is not felt, it is lost. So, worshipping the demigods as independent controllers is condemned. Worshipping the demigods as part and parcel of Krishna is not condemned.
Okay, so until we become a pure devotee, we should do little, means the karma kanda, this one. And so demigods, means we shouldn't completely stop worshipping them. Is it like that? Means we have to, means we should be grateful to Lord, means Surya, and like that. Is that correct, Prabhuji? We always pay obeisance. Means we have to, means worship Surya and other this one demigods in connection with Krishna until we become pure devotees?
No, actually it's other way around. See, now first we'll tell the concept. Concept is like pure devotees may also worship demigods, like gopis are pure devotees. And a sadhaka may also worship demigods. But when demigods are worshipped as the limbs of the Supreme Lord, it is bhakti. It is not called karma kanda. So you understand this concept. Now, what should we worship demigods? We should not worship demigods. Generally, for Indians, especially when they are new bhaktas, they are not advanced enough, it is recommended that don't worship demigods. You can respect. Why? Because they generally have the tendency of big karma kanda background, and they have a risk of falling into it again. It's like for a devotee who had a previous background of drinking, he is recommended not to distribute books outside a liquor shop. He may get money by distributing books and take some Mahaprasad from the shop behind. I hope you understand.
Yes.
But for a devotee who has no such background, he can even go to a liquor shop and distribute book there and come out.
Yes, yes.
So that's why many times in our ISKCON also now recommend devotees not to worship demigods. And people say you are fanatic and this and that and so many things. And the reason is the tendency, nothing else. But once this tendency is totally uprooted, or we are bound by the social circumstances to do these rituals, in that case, what to do? In that case, now we can perform these things, understanding that these are limbs of the Supreme. We don't have to do it extensively.
Okay. And in 18th chapter, Lord Krishna says, Yajnadana tapakarma pavanani manishina, means it purifies even the Mahatmas also. So such Yajnadana tapakarma we shouldn't give up. We should do. So that is also in to the connection with Lord we have to perform it, or it is just the part of karma yoga. Lord summarizes that.
Actually, yajna, dana, tapa, karma in essence should not be done. But which yajna, dana, tapa and karma has to be done, not to be done, that can be discriminated. Like the principle of doing yajna is not condemned. It has to be done. So rather than doing some karma kandi yajnas, we start performing Harinam Sankirtan.
Okay.
So we don't stop doing yajnas. we may start doing a different type of yajna, that is Harinam Sankirtan. Similarly, Dan. Earlier we were doing Dan to even people who drink liquor. But now we will change our Dan. We offer donation to only people who are devotees of the Lord. And for people who want to drink liquor, we may give Mahaprasad. So, principally, Yakidan, Tapa, Karma, they are not like condemned, they have to be performed. But then the processes may be changed.
Thank you.
So, then there's the reason when it comes to practical application, it has to be done under the guidance of Guru Sadhu Shastra. Because things may not be same for everyone. So, for Pandavas, for Gopis of Vrindavan, or any Vrajavasi, they may perform any demigod worship, no problem. Because ultimately they will ask for Krishna Prem only and they will ask for the welfare of Krishna. But for sadhakas at different levels, there may be different instructions depending on time plus circumstances.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. It's clear now.
Okay. Yeah. So this was the difference between pure devotion service and mixed devotion service. If you want to hear more about pure devotion and mixed devotion service, then I've given some classes on these things in Bhakti Shastri courses. So you tell me, I'll send the link.
Yes, Prabhuji, please, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Please tell Prabhuji.
in YouTube, your classes are available, Prabhuji. In
Yes.
in which in your name only, Prabhuji, your YouTube channel.
So they're
name?
old ones, but if you go to the Bhakti Shastri lectures, I have all the lectures in my YouTube channel. So there, the middle 6 chapters are there. There I have explained about mixed devotion service and pure devotion service very elaborate. Now somebody can read this translation.
O original person, we are therefore but yours only. Although we are your creatures, we are born one after another under the influence of the three modes of nature. And for this reason, we are separated in action. Therefore, after the creation, we could not act concertedly for your transcendental pleasure.
Yeah. So we have separate actions. We are not able to mix together. Now they desire. This is their desire. So there's a reason we pray to you, mighty Lord, please allow to concentrately work for your pleasure so that we can mix and cause the creation. So that is why they pray. Please continue. We can just go through, maybe we'll take 2-3 more minutes. Just quickly do the task.
O unborn one, please enlighten us regarding the ways and means by which we can offer you all enjoyable grains and commodities so that we and all other living entities in this world can maintain ourselves without disturbance and can easily accumulate the necessities of life, both for you and for ourselves.
So why we want to mix? We want to mix for 2 reasons. One reason is for your pleasure, because all the commodities will come ultimately will offer to you. And second is, so the living entities can also maintain themselves, and that is your desire. You have created this world for the purpose of facilitating the desires of living entities to enjoy. So ultimately, that is also your service only. So please continue.
You are the original personal founder of all the demigods and the orders of different gradations, yet you are the oldest and are unchanged. O Lord, you have no source or superior. You have impregnated the extra energy with the semen of the total living entities, yet you are unborn.
So for us, we are born, we are just born. But as far as you are concerned, you are unborn. That's why you are superior to all of us. Please continue.
O Supreme Self, please give us who are created in the beginning from the Mahat Tattva, the total cosmic energy, your kind direction on how we shall act. Kindly award us your perfect knowledge and potency so that we can render you service in the different departments of subsequent creation.
So now please give us directions so that we can work in different departments and continue the process of creation. So that is how end their prayers, and we will find in the next chapter that how Lord will send his potency, Vibra Shakti, and then they would mix together and the further creation will end here.
Sorry.
Nandra Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Prabhupada ki Vancha Kalpadruvasa Kripa Sindhucha Putina Pavaningo Vaishnav.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.